Let me ask you something. How are you using AI right now? If your answer is, I ask it questions or I use it like Google, then you're leaving serious money on the table. And honestly, it's like driving a Ferrari to go to the restaurant down the street. Today, I want to talk about the real shift that's happening, not the scary headlines, not AI is going to take your job. I want to talk about the people who are actually winning right now and what they're doing differently. Because here's what I've noticed. It's not the smartest people. It's not the most experienced people. It's the people with a specific kind of mindset. And that mindset you can learn starting today. There's a split happening right now in the workforce, and it's not happening slowly. It's happening fast. On one side, you got people who see AI as a threat. They're worried. They're watching the news. They're waiting to see what happens. And that fear, as understandable as it is causing them to freeze. On the other side, you got people who are treating AI like it's a free upgrade to their life, and they're quietly running laps around everyone else. I was watching a podcast recently, and they were talking about how someone needed to analyze 100 documents. They were talking weeks-long project for most people, and instead of sitting down with Excel for a month, they opened up the AI tool, built a simple agent, and by the time dinner was over, it was done. She had sentiment analysis across every social media post, years of data laid out clearly. It showed which posts actually performed, not just which ones got the most likes, which ones actually drove results. And like they said, it was done before dessert. Now, here's the thing. She didn't have a technical background. She wasn't a data scientist. She just had the mindset to say, I wonder if AI could help me with this. That's it. That's the whole edge. Employers are already noticing this. More and more when hiring, the question isn't what's on your resume, it's are you someone who reaches for AI when you hit a hard problem? Are you curious about the future? And do you experiment? That's the filter, and it's only going to matter more. Let me tell you about the real difference I see between people who are thriving and people who are struggling. It comes down to how you see problems. Most of us, myself included, were trained by school and by the workplace to see problems as things to avoid. Like, that's not my job. I wasn't trained for this, or nobody gave me the rule book. That's the employee mindset, and it made total sense for the industrial age to show up, do your task, go home, and repeat. But we're not in that world anymore. The entrepreneur mindset flips this completely. Problems become opportunities. Uncertainty becomes a question. How would I test this? How would I build something quickly? And how would I find out if this works? And here's what's wild. You don't have to start a company to have an entrepreneur mindset. You can bring it to your job. You can bring it to a side project. You can bring it to the way you use AI. Here's a real example of what that looks like in practice. A team I heard about ran 3 months of sales call recordings through an AI tool. They weren't sure what they'd find, but what came back was gold. Turns out that 75% of people on those calls mentioned a spouse or family member who was also the decision maker, and there was a 0 point in the process where the team invited that person onto the call. No one noticed it, no one flagged it, not in any of the calls for 3 months. And AI caught it in minutes, wrote a script to fix it, and sales conversions started climbing. That's the entrepreneur mindset, powered by AI. You're not just using it to save time, you're using it to see things you couldn't see before. So let's talk about where the money actually is, because I want to give you something specific to walk away with. Opportunity number 1, bridge the AI gap for small businesses. Mark Cuban, one of the sharpest investors alive, said recently that one of the biggest opportunities right now is helping small business owners actually use AI. They know they need it. They don't know where to start. If you know how to use AI tools, even at a basic level, you're ahead of millions of business owners. That's a consulting opportunity. That's a service that you can offer, and that's a position that you could take on a team. Opportunity number 2, buy a baby boomer business. Here's a stat that most people aren't talking about. 60 to 70% of all businesses by valuation are owned by people over 65. That's 2/3 of the economy. And mathematically, those businesses have a chance to change hands in the next 10 to 20 years. Baby boomers, they want to retire. And a lot of them, if you present yourself well and have a little bit of credibility, are willing to even fund you to buy the business. This is a real concrete path that doesn't require you to build something from scratch. You step into something that already has customers, already has the cash flow, and if you bring AI powered efficiency to it, there's nothing that stops you. Opportunity number 3, join a small dynamic team. The companies that are doing the most interesting work right now aren't giant corporations. They're small teams, 2 to 20 people, lean, fast, and entrepreneurial. If you can find a founder or team you believe in and contribute to what they're building, that's an incredible learning environment. You grow faster, you have more impact, and you're in the room where things are actually happening. Not everyone is ready to start something from scratch, and that's completely fine. Being part of a great small team is its own opportunity. Let me be really specific about this because I think most people are underselling how powerful this is. Stop using AI as a search engine. I mean it. That's the biggest mistake I see. You type in a question, you get an answer, you close the tab. That's not the way it's supposed to work. The real move is this. Bring AI your hardest, messiest, most complicated problem, give it context, give it data, give it the full picture, and then say, help me solve this. You upload PDFs, you share the backstory, you paste in sales data, describe what you're trying to figure out. The people who are winning with AI right now are treating it like a brilliant colleague who's always available, never tired, and has read everything. They bring it into the hard conversations, not just the easy ones. And here's the crazy part. It doesn't cost what you think it does. A lot of these tools have free tiers. The barrier to entry is almost nothing. The barrier to actually using them well and how to learn from it, that's where your edge is. Now, all of this is great, but here's something a little counterintuitive that I want to leave you with. Writing is more important now than it's ever been. I know, that sounds backwards, right? AI can write for you. Why would writing matter more? Because writing is a proxy for understanding, and understanding is what makes you valuable. See, when people came up with the idea to analyze those sales calls using AI, that started with a great question. I wonder if there's something in here we're missing. That question came from someone who understood the business, who had thought deeply about the problem, and knew exactly what to look for. AI doesn't give you the question, you bring the question, and the quality of your question is directly related to how deeply you understand your world. So here's a practice I'd encourage. I'm going to get a little specific here. Find some time away from your screen. Take a pen and paper, sit somewhere quiet, and ask yourself this. When did I do something special? Something that impacted a certain type of person, where I can explain how I did it step by step and how it felt. See, that question is a goldmine. It connects your past experience to your future opportunity. It's how you figure out what only you can offer, what only you can say. In a world where AI can produce infinite generic content, your lived experience is the scarce resource. Protect it, develop it, and document it. So here's what I want you to actually do after this video. Pick one problem in your life or work, a real one, a messy one, and bring it to an AI tool. Not a simple question, a real problem. Give it the full context and see what comes back. That's it. That's the one step. Because the gap right now isn't between you and some tech genius. The gap is between people who are willing to experiment and people who are waiting for someone to hand them a rule book. And the crazy part about it, the rule book doesn't exist. And that's actually great news because it means whoever moves first is the one who's most likely going to win. I want to end this video with a simple question, but first, if you found that this video gave you something useful, hit subscribe. I put out content on making sense of this new landscape. I try to keep it as practical and honest as possible. Drop a comment below and answer this. What's the hardest problem in your work right now and how can you make it easier? And lastly, I just want to say thank you for watching. And remember, do more, never give up, and always stay humble.